are many ways to go about this offseason. You could do one thing where you take a few steps back and you say, you know what, we'll give it a few years to replace all our lost talent and be okay with what happens. Or you could be smart and aggressive at the same time and build a team that is ready to go back to the Super Bowl next year while building for the future. And the fact that the Eagles are thinking about trading Quez Watkins tells me that's their approach. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing. Hope you're hanging in there. You know, the Eagles got a lot of roster moves to make. They've got a lot of decisions to make on players. They've got to figure a way to utilize the cap in a way that allows them to bring and keep as much talent as they can. Because if this team makes the right moves, I believe they could get back to the Super Bowl and win it next year, because the nucleus of this team is young and they're very good. But how do they do it? Well, we're going to talk about it in a second. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. But more importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. If you like Eagles stuff, if you like football videos every day, even in the off season, we don't miss nothing. You're not going to want to miss what goes on here. It gets crazy. And if you've been subscribed for a while, you know I appreciate you guys so much. You guys make this entirely worth it. Every morning I get up and I think about, I get to make videos for all the people that have watched me, because my subscribers are the best in the world. But just double check, double moonwalk check, make sure everything is going as it should be according to you guys receiving notifications, being still subscribed. A lot of weird things happen on YouTube. It just does, okay? Now, in this video, there's going to be a lot to talk about, because I feel like some of the things that we're starting to hear, it makes me believe that the Eagles are going to be very aggressive this offseason. They're going to do some things outside the box, and the Eagles are looking to build a team not just so they can compete in a few years and replace the talent they lost, but they want to win next year. And that's what I want from this team. That's what I love about this team. That's what I love about Howie Vision. You know, we're all just living in it. But the Eagles have to be aggressive. And let me clear this one thing up. When I was talking about Bijan Robinson and going out and the possibility of actually drafting a running back in the first round, which usually I'm totally against doing it unless it's a generational type talent like a Barry Sanders or somebody like that. I thought Saquon Barkley should have gone real early, okay? So I don't really like drafting running backs early, but I think the situation the Eagles are in, which I explained in that video, I think going out and drafting a running back in the first round should be considered. I'm not saying it should be definite, but it should be something that they consider. The thing that I want to clear up, though, is a lot of people assumed that I was talking about taking Bijan Robinson with the 10th pick overall. No, I don't want to take him with the 10th pick overall. I want to take him with my second first-round pick, okay? Or possibly another running back like Gibbs, right? Maybe him with my second first-round pick. I think if, let's say at 10, I think most likely at 10 you've got to go cornerback, defensive end, defensive tackle, something like that. If they don't do something blockbuster in the top 10 pick, like trading up, and they stay at 10, I could see the Eagles, I think taking a cornerback would be a really good pick, something like that. However, what I'm talking about is, let's say Bijan Robinson is at 18, 19, 20, and I don't know where he's going to go, but let's say he gets to that point. I think at that point you need to trade up and try to get up to 18, 19, 20, wherever he is, and draft him. Then I would consider trading my second first-round pick and moving up. I have an extra second-round pick the following year, so I would put something together and package something together and get him, okay? And yes, it's not normally what I would do, but here's the thing. I think the Eagles have to look at things from a realistic standpoint, okay? You're not you're not going to be able to keep everybody. It just doesn't seem like it's the case. Charleston Gardner-Johnson, he'll stay. My hope is that Hargrave stays also. If he does, if we can keep both those guys, to me that's a huge accomplishment. But you're still going to lose guys like James Bradberry. Matter of fact, Bradberry's already getting talked about with other teams. Jonathan Gannon, he's already got his meat hooks into the Eagles roster, right? Get this. Mike Jurecki, I don't know how to say his name, but he said this. I'm hearing James Bradberry is on the Cardinals' radar. Always comes down to competition with cash. I guess that's what he means. He's familiar with the defense played under Gannon. They want to upgrade the back end while creating pressure up front. Well, you better get a really good defensive ends and defensive line to get pressure up front because he ain't blitzing, I'll tell you that. But James Bradberry is all but pretty much gone. He is going to a lot of teams are going to go after him. He's going to get a lot of money. The Eagles probably are not able to keep him, right? Which means maybe you draft a cornerback in the first round at 10, and he becomes an instant starter on the opposite side of Darius Slay, okay? So that rookie may turn out to be a great cornerback down the road, but the chances are he's going to give you what James Bradberry gave you last year is not likely, not in his rookie year. Maybe down the road, but not in his rookie year. So the point is that I think it's fair to say that looking at this defense on paper, it's probably not going to have the same amount of talent as it did last year. However, there's ways to negate that. There are things that you can do to overcome that and still be competitive and still go to a Super Bowl, okay? And the first thing is this. I think you have to become a more aggressive defense. You have to become more aggressive in your style of play. You have to try to make sure you're getting to the quarterback, bringing pressure. And listen, I know they had 70 sacks last year. I do. But I'm saying you've got to dial up that pressure. You're not going to have the same guys back that you had last year. And creating pressure and being aggressive may cause teams to have, bigger plays against you. You may give up some big plays and some quick touchdowns. Those things may happen. But those things can be negated if your offense is so dynamic that it scores 30-plus points a game. You can overcome some of those big plays an overly aggressive defense allows. The thing about an overly aggressive defense is if you can create a lot of turnovers, and you could be one of the top teams in turnovers, even though you're giving up some big plays, with a dynamic offense, it's a recipe for success. I truly believe in today's football. Everybody wants to say defense wins championships. I don't think it's the same thing anymore. I think it's good offenses win championships with opportunistic defenses. Good offense with an opportunistic defense. The Eagles lost the Super Bowl. They scored 35 points. Where was the defense on both sides? When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, where was the defense? Defenses are important, but they got to be opportunistic defenses. I don't think you get quite the dominant defenses of the yesteryears, but you get opportunistic defenses. So I think a more aggressive defense that creates a lot of turnovers, who occasionally gives up maybe bigger plays, than you did last year, even with less talent, you add that with a super dynamic offense, you should be able to compete for a Super Bowl. And that's why I'm open to drafting Bijan Robinson in the first round. That's why I would do it, because if you add a running back like that, a talent like that, to go with Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Goddard, and you have offense that's scoring over 30 points a game, even though you may give up some big plays on your defense that you didn't give up last year, but with the high turnover rate and an unstoppable offense, an improved offense, I think that you go out and I think you're going to win a lot of games and you can compete for a Super Bowl, and I think you can win it. And that's the best way to go about this whole thing this offseason. That's why I think the Eagles are going to be aggressive. That's why I think offense, you may see the Eagles go go out and get themselves a nice runner. Maybe it's not Bijan Robinson. Maybe they really do go for a Saquon Barkley or something like that, or Dalvin Cook in a trade. But I do think that if you improve your offense to where they're scoring 30 plus points a game, and then you have a defense that creates turnovers, that's not as good on paper as they were last year talent-wise, but they create a lot of turnovers, they're more aggressive, and they give up the occasional big plays, you'll be able to win games, a lot of games that way. That's why I would consider a Bijan Robinson with my second first-round pick, not my first. I'm thinking maybe you go corner in the first round at 10. Now you have James Bradberry's replacement. Yes, he's still learning. He's a rookie. He's not going to be where James Bradberry was last year, but he's still somebody that you can build around. And if you follow my opinion of an aggressive defense, force a lot of turnovers with a dynamic offense, you'll win a lot of games. And one of the things that the Eagles offensively are looking to possibly do is trade Quez Watkins. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are down on Quez Watkins. A lot of people were upset at Quez Watkins, and it should be. He made a lot of bonehead plays, right? The drop in the Super Bowl's one. How about the fumble in the Washington game where we probably go down and win that game? He didn't have a good year. And a lot of people want to upgrade that number 3 wide receiver spot. And the Eagles may be looking to do the same thing. So get this, right? Dov Kleeman says this. Pound Eagles would, quote, certainly be open to trading wide receiver Quez Watkins, according to the Athletic. Watkins is a speed demon with 4.3 speed, but has struggled with inconsistency. And here's what it would do for the Eagles if they were to trade Quez Watkins. A potential trade or cut of Quez Watkins. His 2023 cap would be $2.78 million. The cap savings, if cut or traded before June 1st, would be $2.74 million. Dead money, if cut or trade before June 1st, is $42,415. So the Eagles could save almost $3 million by trading or cutting Quez Watkins. Now, that doesn't seem like a ton of money in terms of cap space, but I think it's still something. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is probably not going to be what a lot of people think, but I actually like Quez Watkins. I actually think Quez Watkins is still good, and he still can play. Yes, he had a bad season, an inconsistent season. Sure, I'm open to upgrading the number 3 wide receiver spot, but I think I'd keep Quez Watkins. I think I'd still like to keep him. That speed is hard to come by, and I think if Quez Watkins, I think Quez Watkins has the ability to come out and show that he can play in this league and make up for what happened this past year. But I wouldn't be rushing to go out and trade Quez Watkins. I mean, what are you going to get for Quez Watkins? That would be my whole thing. What are you going to get? A 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick, a conditional 5th-round pick in 2025? What are you really going to get for him? I almost rather keep him, make him a 4th wide receiver, and then have a little depth there. Maybe put him on the return game. Let's see what he can do. But I'm not super eager to trade Quez Watkins. I understand why people are frustrated. I was frustrated with him too. However, I still think he's got something in there. I still think he can play, and I wouldn't rush off to get rid of him. I would, however, look to give him competition at the number 3 spot, and maybe you do that in the draft. I don't know. Also, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Devontae Smith is in a walking boot 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. So he was at the Sixers game. He rang the bell. I saw that he got Tatum to sign a Celtic jersey. Never have anybody sign a Celtic jersey. Hate the Celtics. But he's in a walking boot. However, I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to impact him next year or anything like that. Devontae Smith is an absolute stud. He's an absolute stud. He's a monster. I love the kid. I do. And he's only going to get better and better. He led the Super Bowl, 7 catches for 100 yards? I think he led receivers. I absolutely love him. So he should be fine as well. But, we'll see. Quez Watkins possibly getting traded. We'll see how that plays out. But I do think it shows us the Eagles are looking to upgrade their offense still. And there are positions into into which you can upgrade it, right? I think the third receiver is definitely can be an upgrade. I think you can upgrade your running back situation, and I think the right guard situation with Sayamalu is something to watch out too for. Do they put Cam Jurgens at right guard if Kelsey comes back? I think and I believe Kelsey's coming back, but I don't know for sure. But if Kelsey does come back, put Jurgens at right guard if they think he can play. Upgrade your running back position if you get the right back, if you get a really good back. Can you imagine? I mean, people are always talking about, hey, listen, we have a great offensive line. You don't need a really great running back with that offensive line because those, average or decent running backs will be good because look at the line. Well, that's all true. It's all true. But what if you put a really good running back behind a really good offensive line? What do you have there? Maybe Hurts doesn't have to run as much. Maybe you keep the ball longer. Your defense stays off the field. I just think it would make the Eagles so dynamic offensively, where they're scoring 30-plus points a game, that even if you lose some pieces on defense and you don't have the same talent, but you're a little more aggressive, you create a little more turnovers because you have to, because you don't have the same guys that you had a year before. You make some, you give up some big plays here or there. It's still workable with a really, really good offense. The offense is the key to getting this team back to the Super Bowl because yes, you can bring back defensive pieces. I think you use the draft early defense, sure. However, if you're scoring a lot of points and teams can't keep up with your scoring, it gives you some flexibility. And that's the problem here. We have to have some flexibility because we don't have a lot of cap money. It's going to be hard to keep everybody. That's the truth. I expect Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to be back. I think Brandon Graham's going to come back. I think he's going to take a team-friendly deal. I'm 50-50 on Hargrave. I think Fletcher Cox is gone. I think Bradberry's gone. I think T.J. Edwards and Kaiser White both could be gone. So we've got to think about this a different way. We got to think about it. We got to think outside the box. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. All right, so I'm going to need your guys' help, right? I like VR. I actually like VR, right? I still think they got to figure out things with VR. In order for VR to really take that next step, they got to figure out something with the movement, controlling like the walking and how people get around, because I think that hurts a lot of VR games. Also, I think they haven't really had that defining VR game. It's not like when PlayStation 2 came out and they came out with what was it, Resident Evil or Tomb Raider. There's always generational defining games. VR has not had that. But my point is this: I have the Quest. I like the Quest 2. I think it's great with no wires. But I'm really trying to figure out, should I get the PlayStation VR? Because it looks like spec-wise, it looks like it's really, really good and could be a lot of fun. I just don't like the fact that you still have a wire connected to it. However, you can't complain about that, how it's going to look. So if anybody has it, let me know. Is it worth getting or not? Denzel Washington out.